most beautiful horse you've ever seen, and what made him or her so striking?
That would be Sweet Lou. He was my favorite horse I ever raced. He had beautiful white blaze and white hind feet and just had a way about him.
Horse that my dad raised, actually, and he still races, not for us, but his name was the Prowler. And he's gorgeous. He's a chestnut, and unlike a lot of people, I like chestnuts, and he's blonde mane, and so yeah, he's one that stands out.
I have to go with Somebeachsomewhere, obviously. He just had it all. He had a presence about him that was just second to none, and you know, it'll be a while, I think, before we see one just like him.
Astronomical was a beautiful horse, and Shadow Play was too. So I like the both of them. Shadow Play was pure black, and he just developed into a really, really nice, magnificent horse for us as a 3-year-old. And Astronomical also was a good-looking horse when he was young in his day as well.
Definitely Burning Money. He's got kind of a chestnutty color to his bay color, and he's got a big white blaze that goes down his face. And Ken Middleton always says the familiar white blaze of Burning Money. He actually looks like a thoroughbred. If you were to look at him, you'd say, you know, somebody should be riding him instead of driving him. But no, he's by far the nicest looking animal that I've ever had anyway.
My girlfriend's got a Frisian out in the middle of the paddock. He's awful pretty.
It would be between Shadow Play and Jeremy's Jet. They were exceptional looking horses, both of them. If you could build a horse, either one of those, I would narrow it down to Shadow Play in the end. I really like Shadow Play.
Oh, Somebeachsomewhere, just the size of this animal, and he was just such an athlete. Yeah, for sure. In my era, anyway. I'm sure there's been some horses out there that have been as good looking, but for me, he was my favorite horse to ever witness to race, for sure.
I would have to say Susie's Magic, and partly because she won the Breeders' Crown, which was my first big race, but also because she was a beautiful horse and beautiful on the track and beautiful to be around.
I think a filly that I owned, Pure Ivory, was a pretty beautiful animal, and she raced like one. And if you were to pull her aside and look at her, you'd say, man, that's a pretty nice looking horse.
The most beautiful horse I ever seen was maybe Somebeachsomewhere. Was a really good looking horse. I would say him.
Geez, recently I would have to say Shadow Play. Every time I see that horse, you just stop and you got to look at him. And War We Needy is a pretty impressive looking animal too if you get up close and have a look at that one. Massive horse. And Western Hanover, he was a gorgeous horse too. They just looked athletic. That's all there is to it. Just athletes, and you have to look.
He was so perfect. He just had a classy head, a classy eye, great body. Santana Blue Chip was probably the most beautiful horse I've ever been around.
That's easy. Sports writer. Anybody that's seen him, he was just an unbelievable individual. I really thought I was going to have to pay a whole lot more money than I did for him at the sale, and I was trying to do anything I could to buy him. And he was just gorgeous. His conformation's perfect. His head, his eyes. There was nothing not to like about that horse. He was just the all-around perfect animal.
I would say Somebeachsomewhere. I seen him when Brent brought him in the paddock early, just before he was qualifying, and Paul McDonnell was coming in with the horse. I knew that horse was pretty special if Mac was coming in the morning to train him. And he was a big, beautiful looking animal. Even before he got to be filled out at 3, but he was a beautiful animal when he was just a baby too. So.
Well, I never saw him as a young horse, but I would have to say a very striking individual when he became a racehorse was Somebeachsomewhere, of course. He had body, size, and brains to go all together, and that means a lot.
I've had a lot of good-looking horses, but that Cherise Sealster filly that I had, she was a real beautiful animal, and she got a kind of a soft spot in my heart.
Well, I think I have to say Moneymaker. I mean, Moneymaker was so different from any other horse you see. I mean, she had that charisma walking up on the track, like big fillish like she was, and she was just an amazing animal, and just to be a part in her life, that's make her so. She was so unique.
It'd have to be Somebeachsomewhere with his presence. It's just the way he carried himself out there. He looked the part and he acted the part.
I guess one of the best looking horses I've ever seen is Shadow Play. He was
black, and he carried himself proud. He was just a really good-looking horse. Anytime I saw him at our farm jogging when he was there as a 3-year-old, and just jogging, doing anything, he always looked like he wanted everyone to look at him, kind of thing. So, and he did it too by winning races, so they took his picture lots.
Well, again, Good Times was because he was so good, maybe, but I always loved the way he was so proud, and so I always enjoyed the way he carried himself on the track. But a lot of the good horses do that, they have that just the aura about them.